We are on.
Hi everybody, we're ready to get started, so everybody please take your seats. I'm sure you had a very lovely and efficient lunch, right? I think the hotel was a little bit overwhelmed, so thanks for your patience and understanding since SendOutCards is such a positive group of people. So everybody just please take your seats so we can get started. I'm so excited about this afternoon and what Jordan and Steve had to share with us. So we'll start in about 30 seconds.
Secret. Oh. No.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. I can see all the people who are excited about the Sincere and the social media platform. This afternoon is going to blow your mind with what SendOutCards has coming just within the next few weeks. So I'm really, really excited that we've got such a great crowd this afternoon to see what's going on and really how we can take our businesses to astronomical levels. So thank you so much. So I'm going to reintroduce to the stage Mr. Jordan ADLER.
How's the sound? Okay. Hi, everybody in TV land. Everybody wave to the. Are they the ones watching us, or are they the ones watching us? Everybody wave to those guys. I don't know. Oh, they can't even see you. Never mind.
I do.
There you go. Go ahead and wave. All right, everybody. Sure. Come on. So I'm going to start off. I got to tell you a quick story. Who was the woman that I met with earlier today that traveled agent? What's your name again? What is it? Diane. So I was at a convention a few weeks ago, and so a couple of you have heard the story. A few of you probably have. I was at a convention, and I was in the Starbucks downstairs early in the morning, and a woman walks over to me and introduces herself, and it turns out she's from New Zealand. And we're talking, and she says she's a travel agent. I asked her what she did, and she said she's a travel agent. I go, oh, great. Now, I come from the travel business. I was in the airline industry for 10 years before I was involved with SendOutCards, and I know that the travel agency business changed dramatically over the past 15, 20 years because of the internet. People today do their own research, they purchase their own tickets, and 90% of the travel agents that were in business 20 years ago, 15 years ago are gone. And there's only a small percentage that were around that are still around, and most of them are doing cruises and things like that. And so I just assumed, because she's in the travel business, that things weren't going that great. And I said to her, I just said, how's it going? Knowing that she's a travel agent, expecting me to say, not so good. And what she did say was, she said, it's going phenomenal. In fact, I just had my best year ever, and I've been doing it for many years. I'm like, really? I said, well, what do you do? Like, what do what do you sell, cruises? And she said, no, I book, oh wait, Steve, I want a different presentation here. I thought I was doing, am I supposed to be doing this stuff? Wait, okay, I'm going to tell another story. No, I'm kidding. It took me to the cancellations, no show today. I know, but this is like, okay, I'll have to do this later. Can you get me to the one that says space? Space. Sorry, guys. Kind of broke the pace of my story here. Like, space. There we go. She says, okay, we'll go back to that if we have time. She says, I booked space, and she points up. She says, I booked space. And I go, space? And she says, space, and she points up. And I go, space? She says, yeah, I sell $250,000 tickets on Virgin Galactic, Richard Branson's company, for people that want to go up in space. And they've sold, now she hasn't sold 700 tickets, but they've sold 700 tickets, and she's sold some of them. Wow. So she took a profession that was a dying profession and completely redefined it to create huge success for herself and her family. That's what SendOutCards is going to do. See, when I joined SendOutCards, my first thought was, this is going to be big. The company was doing $2 million a year. Today we do $50 million a year. That's big, going from $2 million to $50 million. I can take partial responsibility for that because of the team that we built, 150,000 distributors. However, what we've done, is a small part of what's going to happen in the future. If we go from a $50 million company to a $1 billion company, or a $2 billion, or a $5 billion company, if we do that, what will happen in the next few years will be significantly bigger, multitudes bigger than what happened in the first few years. So like what I was saying earlier, what the computer did for business, or what the digital camera did for photography, or what the wheel did for transportation, that's what Sincere does for SendOutCards. She took that travel industry paradigm that everyone knew was a dying business and turned it into a massive, huge success. And you know what? People that can do that can create success in anything in their life. SendOutCards included. So what I'm going to talk about now is I want to talk about the implications of Sincere and what it does for this company. First of all, what is it? It's a social media platform, just like Pinterest, just like Instagram. And if you're not on any of those things, you can get up to speed in an hour, literally. If you're not on Facebook, you get on Facebook and you'll figure it in an hour you can start doing it. You make a post, you look at your inbox messages, you start adding friends. It's easy to do. It tells you where your friends are. As soon as you're on there, all of a sudden, if you're not on there now, you start seeing friends. You go accept, accept, accept. I know who these people are. Accept, accept, accept. And they're your friends, and now you can post messages. It's not hard. That's why it's so big. 1 billion users on Facebook. Instagram, Pinterest, they're easy to use once you're on there. If you've never been on there, or you've never sat with it for a few minutes, you haven't figured it out. But I can tell you right now, just like those people that said, I will never use a cell phone because I have a landline, or I will never use a smartphone because I have a flip phone. You are already in it. Like whether you're on it or you're in it. Like we are in the social media age. I'm not young. I mean, I feel young, but I'm 56 years old. My dad's 82 and still sends text messages. Thank you. I can't say it, but he can do it. My point, I know some of you are on social media and you come up to me afterwards and you're all concerned and you're all stressed out. Nothing to be stressed out about. It doesn't even matter because your team will be on it. It doesn't matter if you're on it, but I would recommend getting on it, right? So we're going to talk about what are the implications of what's coming. See, SendOutCards is very linear. You pick a contact, you pick a card, type a message, you hit send, and the card goes in the mail. That's great. Now, it's somewhat non-linear when you send a campaign. Like, I could send a campaign card to all of you at the same time. Boom, bam, right? All at the same time. That's somewhat non-linear. But it's the difference between incremental versus exponential. See, sincere is an exponential opportunity. All it is a place, it's a website where you can post the cards that you love. Just like Pinterest, you post pictures that you love. You just hit a button. In our case, it's a green button. You'll hit that button. It's not out yet, so it's being beta tested by some people that were convention. But when it hits, you'll be able to hit a green button and post your card on Sincere if you want to. You don't have to. But cards that you love. So now, Melissa makes great cards. You will all have access to her great cards. And you can change them, you can add to them. And Melissa will have access to your cards. Now all of a sudden, across the whole country of Canada, the whole country of the United States, and eventually the world, well, let's just talk about North America for a minute. Anybody who's a photographer can have access to every single photographer's card, or anybody who's a photographer can have access to every single image that anybody's ever shared from our talent pool. And anybody who's a dentist, if there's dentist cards out there, if anybody's a realtor, if there's realtor cards, anybody who's a chiropractor, if there's anybody who does construction, if there's construction cards, you go boom, and there's all the construction cards that every single person that was ever that posted on Sincere. Change them, modify them, use the ideas, like them, collect them, share them. Isn't that awesome? She just got it. But you know what? What I just gave you is 5% of the power. Yeah. Now let's talk about why. What is it that caused Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and the other social media sites to get so big so fast? Here's the first thing. Look, she can't even, she's like just floating 5 feet up. She's like, whoa, wow, I can see her. There's probably others. How many of you just got something that you didn't before from that little pop? She was the only one? No, like 5 of you. That's good. All right. So the first reason why these social media sites have done so well is we want to be connected with other people. We want to be connected with people and things. We have it's in the human spirit to want to connect with things and with people. And that's one of the reasons that it has done so well. And these companies, by the way, these companies have become multi-billion-dollar companies in 2 to 4 years. Multi-billion-dollar companies in 2 to 4 years. Grew up hundreds of millions of users in 2 to 4 years. The second reason is we're voyeurs. People are voyeurs. And some of you are like, I'm not a voyeur, as you're looking at your phone going, I wonder what my friends are doing today. I'm not a voyeur. You're looking at your Facebook on your phone, looking into the live. We want to see into the lives of other people. Why do you think those shows like Extra and all those shows on, what are those other, all the reality shows, we want to see into other people's lives. Well, it's funny because no one will admit to watching those shows, but yet they're the most watched shows on television. But no one will admit to watching those shows. You know, it's so funny because I haven't eaten beef or chicken in many years, and I haven't had a Big Mac. I hadn't had a Big Mac in probably, you guys have Big Macs here, right? They're everywhere. You want to create something funny? Now watch this. Watch this. How many of you had a Big Mac in the past week? They're lying, Steve, because the one person, now here's the thing. One person in this room, it is the biggest fast food chain in the world. You guys all laughed when I said you guys have Big Macs here, meaning that they're everywhere. But in a room full of a few hundred people, a couple hundred people, one person. Here's the deal. It's just like reality TV, and just like so, no one will admit to it. It's like their closets. They're like, they're in their Big Mac at night. So I went to Tim Hortons today. Well, that's not embarrassing. Big Mac's embarrassing. So, but I'm going to be up here. I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you and tell you I ate a Big Mac at the LA airport. And I hadn't eaten one in like 8 years. All right, and you don't have to applaud that or anything. But my point is this. My point is this. It's like the whole voyeur thing. It's like no one will admit to being a voyeur, but we're all doing it every day. We're watching it on TV and we're looking at our Facebook. This is the reason, one of the reasons why social media has done so well, because we want to peek into the lives of other people. We do. We want to admit it. We want to be famous. I don't want to be famous, but then as soon as you meet a famous person and you have a picture taken, you have to post it on Facebook. So let everybody know. I know that guy. Well, I met him once. Right? We have a need for that. And that's another reason why social media has exploded. We also need to be validated. I don't need to be validated. How many likes did I get on that post today? And then you're bragging to your friends, I got 54 likes on that post. But I don't need to be validated. Or when you post something and you look and you have 2 likes and it's like, I only got 2 likes. Yeah. Nobody likes my posts. Right, yeah. That's another reason why, though, because that need to connect. It's just that need to connect and the need to be validated. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. All the things I've talked about so far, SendOutCards has never had any of them. Anyone know who that is? What's her name? No? Veruca Salt. That's Veruca Salt. Who is Veruca Salt? Charlie and the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. One of the best lines, or from a song, I think, is for our businesses in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's when Gene Wilder says, if you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, you can change the world, there's nothing to it. Isn't that great? It gives me chills every time I say it. So, but Veruca Salt, she used to say what? In her British accent. I want it now! And then she dies in the chocolate. She falls in the chocolate and dies. Right? It's the only movie in history where kids can where they can get away with like killing kids. And it's okay. Well, but it's true, I know. But weird. So again, it's like instant gratification. SendOutCards never had that. So, there's a slide missing. I don't know what happened to it. But my point, let's go back. All these things, this, and this, is what made social media become incredibly viral. To the point where they broke, that the companies that were the social media launches were like 100 times growth faster than any other company in history. Revenue and users. In fact, just to give you a sense of it, Facebook in record time has a billion users. Instagram, 100 million users. Pinterest, 70 million users. Twitter, 300 million users. Because of those things I went over with you a few minutes ago. SendOutCards has none of those. None. In fact, I had to exaggerate SendOutCards 627. I had to exaggerate this bar so you could see it. I had to make this bigger than it actually was so you could actually see it. 627,000 users in 10 years. And we got a great product that's in demand that people love. But the piece that was missing was all those things we just talked about. Until sincere. There we go. So all the things we talked about, you can applaud again since it's coming up. So with all the other social media platforms, now this is what makes us different. And this is worthy. I told Cody this the other day. This is worthy of press releases, national press releases in the major news publications. Because with all the other social media sites, you can share it, you can tag it, you can like it, you can save it, you can pin it, but you can't send it. Imagine being able to go to Instagram and click on a picture and send that with your own personal note on the back. Wouldn't that be cool? We're the only company in history to do that. The only one. There's nobody, no company in history that you can do that now. But once this happens, you'll be able to share any of your cards on a Sincere and then click on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and it will go there. And anybody, all the millions of people that are on there will see it. And they can click on it. And any card you shared, whether it was my card or someone else's, they become your customer. So for example, let's say I share a card that I love onto Sincere. And you see it and you like it, you click the little heart and then on there, and then you click the Facebook post and you put it on your Facebook wall because you like it. If one of your friends who have never really experienced SendOutCards clicks on that card and goes to Sincere, because they clicked on that card on your Facebook wall and then they go to Sincere, they can pick any card on Sincere, and as soon as they send a card, they're your customer. Can you see with this engine, can you see how we can do it in 1 year when it took us 10 years to do it? Absolutely. So there it is right there. That's what it looks like. Some of you have seen it. You can like things, you can send things, you can collect things, you can save them. These are cards that are posted by. And by the way, we're the only social media platform that I know of that you can actually get paid. That's big time. So a question for you. How much would you pay for a $100 bill? How many of you pay $50 for a $100 bill?
Yeah, sure.
How many pay $80 for a $100 bill? That's a U.S. $100 bill. I just had the slide, so I slipped over. I should have put a Canadian bill, right?
Yeah.
Should have paid. How many of you would pay $150 for a $100 bill? No. How about 1,000? Pay $1,000? $10,000? No. Well, I did a little example. I did a little exercise. And it was on one of my conference calls years ago. Megan's my personal assistant, my business manager. She's going to have a baby next month. And Megan was on the phone at her home, and I was on my phone doing the conference call, and then people were calling in. And my goal that night was to auction off a $100 bill for $1,000. And when I told everybody that's what I was going to do, I was going to do it in 10 minutes. When I told that, everybody's skeptical. Like, how would you ever get anybody to pay more than $100 for a $100 bill? And in 10 minutes. So what I did is I started off the call by saying, this $100 bill, how much would you pay for it? And I said, I'm selling for $80. And then people started texting Megan. And then Megan was keeping track of the people. And then until we finally got it to the point where it was at 1,000, and I cut it off at 1,000. And Linda Thomas bought that $100 bill for $1,000. I started off by saying, the $100 bill is signed by Cody Baker. And all of a sudden, the $100 bill went to $150, and then it went to $200, and then it went to $250. And then I said, you know what, I'll throw my signature on there as well. And I'll also throw DeMar signature on there, and Bob Golden's signature on the $100 bill. And then it went up to like $300, and then it went to $350. And then I said, it's going to be framed in this beautiful frame, and then it went up to $500. And then I said, you know what else? It's a lucky. That's all I said, it was lucky. That's all I said. The word that came out of my mouth is it's lucky. And you can hang it on your wall right next to your desk where you're working, and I don't know, maybe it'll inspire you. Then all of a sudden it went up to 700, and then 750, and then 800. And I did this until and I cut it off at 1,000. And then I had one of the MLM Mastermind programs, there were 2,000 people in the room, and I decided I'd do it again. None of them had heard that story. I had told the story. So with 2,000 people, I said, I'm going to auction off a $100 bill. And I said my goal was to auction off in 15 minutes for $10,000. You know, I did it. A guy from England named Paul Greenow bought it for $10,000. Yeah, and I shipped it to him, actually. I had to ship it to him to London. He lives in London. And what's the point of all that? Can anyone tell me, if you're thinking in your mind, what's the point of it? It's the power of what? Power of thought, the power of words, value is a big part of it. What else? What's it? Perceived value. Leverage. Okay, so let's talk about it as it relates to our business. Because some people can't sign up a rep for $3.95. But a lot of it has to do with how you view the distributor package. Like if you view the distributor packages, why would anybody ever pay $3.95 for a business? Versus it's worth $100,000 or more. $3.95 is nothing for a business like this. And then it's the words you use to explain it. So, the $3.95 marketing distributor package, you get 100 points. If you figure out what the value of that is, it's $31. You get full back office support. What is that worth? You get website hosting. You get a couple of websites that are yours that you don't have to pay monthly for. What's that worth? And you get 10 customer accounts with a $310 value. If you just take the raw value, it's worth more than $3.95. But there's also the invisible value, the future value of if they do something with the business, right? So if you begin to view the business as a business that has already created, listen, $104 million in commissions to our distributors. It's already created that. That's just the past. That's what already happened. Like, there's already evidence. So, if that's true, then why, when you sit down with somebody, why can't you sincerely say, this is what this business is worth? I don't know. It's immense. It's huge what it's worth. $3.95 is nothing. It may not be money that you have in your pocket right now, but it's worth coming up with the money if you go do something. I had somebody say to me, I have a call set up with a woman that's been in SendOutCards for a while that hasn't done much. And she says, I've been in the company for 4 years and I haven't done anything, I haven't made any money. How can I, in good conscience, thank you, how can I, in good conscience, go to somebody and tell them that they can make money in this when I haven't made any money? Hello, nobody's made money before they've made money. Think about that. Nobody in the company has ever made money before they made money. So everybody starts there. When Jordan Adler doing SendOutCards, how can I tell somebody that they're going to make money if I've never made money? Everybody starts there. Every billionaire that's self-made, and there's a whole bunch of them, didn't make $1 billion before they made $1 billion. So that rationale just doesn't work. It's like, what do you see? What's your vision? Like, can you guys see the potential of SendOutCards and Sincere? Can you see the potential? Can you see the opportunity? When I sat down with Michael, we didn't talk about how much money I've made. I talked about the future. I said, Michael, I think this is going to be really big. And I want to know if you see it too. And I just copied that sheet that you just saw of Sincere. I just printed the screenshot of it. Where can they get it if they're not, where could they get that shot if they're not, what? They can't log in yet. Okay, we can get that out. That's easy, yeah. So, so I just showed them the sheet and I told them kind of how it was going to work. And I said, Michael, I think this is going to be big. The $3.95 package includes 10 accounts which you can give to your other loan officers in the office. And you know, I'll show you how it works. We'll get together. I'll show you how it works. And maybe over the next couple of years, you could create something kind of significant. I told him how he could share cards that he's making for the mortgage business on Facebook, and other mortgage people might see it and send cards, and he might be able to create may go viral. We may have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million customers in the next year when this launches. We don't know for sure, but it could be really big. So when you go to people that you know, it's your job to convey that vision in the words that you use. You don't have to be real sophisticated. It might be as simple as like, I think this is going to be really big. Let me show it to you, and you tell me what you think. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have you send a card, then I'm going to have you watch 3 videos, and then I'm going to tell you about the social media thing that we're launching and show them the sheet. Just like Pinterest, just like Instagram, only you can send. That's what you'd say to them, right? Right? Unless you got a really, really good mind and you can remember everything I say, write some of this stuff down, so that when you go home you can look at it. And use it. All right. So if you want to build, you know what I'm going to do now, Steve? I'm going to go back. I may come to this, but I'm going to go back to my, where do I find it? What? Right here? How do I find the other presentation that you were on? No, the other one. Roll up. Oh, I got it. Cool, thanks. Okay. So let's talk about handling no-shows, cancellations, and handling no-shows and cancellations. And there's a comma there. There's probably something else that somehow got cut off. And it's flaky people. Handling no-shows. whoever created this slide must be a flaky. Wait a minute, I created this. Yes. So handling no-shows, cancellations, and flaky people, which we all deal with. There's not a single person in network marketing that's made money that has not experienced this. And I probably should tell you, for those of you who don't know, a little bit about my story. I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago. My mom and dad raised a family. My mom and dad raised 3 kids. We took one family vacation a year. It was always a driving vacation. My dad saved the whole year for us to take that 2-week driving vacation every year. He made $28,000 a year at his peak. We lived in a 1,200 square foot home. And the idea of entrepreneurship did not exist within our family or on our block. In my world, I did not know any entrepreneurs. My father always discouraged me from dreaming. Yeah, I love my dad. He's still alive. I'm going to be with him actually tomorrow in Chicago. But he discouraged me from dreaming. I needed to be realistic. So I did go, my dad saved his entire career for myself and my 2 sisters to go to college for 1 year, but then we were required to figure out how to pay for the rest of college. But we were required to go to college. So I went to the University of Illinois. I wanted to go out of state, couldn't afford it. But I went to the University of Illinois, got a degree in landscape architecture. Now the reason I picked that degree, this is how we choose our profession when we're 20 years old. So I go to college having no idea what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I meet a couple of guys at a bar, and they say they're in landscape architecture, and that there's a lot of pretty girls around. So I show up at the courtyard of where the landscape architecture studios are, and it's nighttime, and there's a bonfire, and everybody's playing frisbee, and there's a bunch of good girls, and I go, this is what I want to do. That's how we pick our profession, right? So I became a landscape architect. Now, I never got my license, but I was a designer, and so I moved right out of school. I took a guitar suitcase for $250, and I moved to Arizona. And there was a girl that I dated in high school that lived there. We weren't seeing each other, but I went out there, and I bought a little $200 motorcycle, tried to apply for jobs, got a job renting roller skates, got fired from that job, and I was working in a gym and all that kind of stuff. But I read a book called The 10 Napkin Presentation by ADLER. And this book is still around today. They changed the title of it a few times, but it's the same book. And it got me thinking about residual income. And so I started answering classified ads. For the next 10 years, I signed up in 11 network marketing companies. In 10 years. Nishika 3D cameras, Dr. Hill's bow tie spirulina, Amway twice, Network 2000, all these different companies. And I never signed up a single distributor, and I never made a penny. Not one. I had 1 credit card in the beginning. I paid my bills on time, and over the course of the next 10 years, I had 22 credit cards. Every single one of them was maxed out, getting into network marketing companies. I had $36,000 in debt on 22 credit cards. Almost all of that debt was a result of me getting into network marketing companies, buying product, going to trainings, and quitting. $36,000. I have my college degree, which cost me about $60,000, and my $36,000 in credit card debt. And I joined my 12th network marketing company in 1992. That's where I met Steve. We were never in business together. We were in separate lines, but we became friends. And over the course, I figured out the simplicity of business. And 90% of it is what you do up here. That's what I'm going to talk about, what you do up here. 90% of it. Not so much the skills. You got to learn some basic skills, but you can learn the skills in about 4 hours. Everything. It's like every single person that doesn't make it in network marketing at some point quits. And it's the quitting that results in them not making it. It's the quitting that results in them not making it. They always quit on a bad day. So my philosophy is don't quit on a bad day. If you have a philosophy, don't quit, I'll never quit on a bad day, then you'll never quit, you'll make it. As long as you continue to do it, you'll make it. But I met Steve in my 12th company. This was after being 11 companies in 10 years, never making a penny, and I made $8 million in that company. I built a team of 85,000 distributors. And the reason was because I shifted my focus. Some of you heard me talk about the fly buzzing against the window. What's the fly trying to do? Get out. What's going to happen to the fly? Death on the windowsill. A horror of death. 10 feet away, there was a wide open door. That's all the fly could have done is focus that way, and it could have effortlessly fly to freedom. One direction leads to death. The other direction leads to freedom. One direction represents struggle. The other direction represents effortless. But that fly can only focus towards the light. And shift its focus towards the door. That's what we do. Better jobs, my better resume, get a better job, stress out and die. Hey, you guys want to laugh about that. Every time I say that, laugh. Then you are a sick crowd. I'm talking about a dead pie, like, oh. The kids are jumping off into the top of the night, oh. Yeah. So I finally shifted my focus in 1992, figured out that most people are going to say no. Most people, I had to shift from they think I'm a jerk, they think I'm an idiot, and so I'm going to believe that versus you don't get it. This is big. And it's a shift in focus. It doesn't mean it still doesn't affect me. To this day, when somebody gives me a hard time about network marketing, and I make 10 times, 50 times as much money as them in network marketing and have an incredible life, and it still affects me when they do it. It still does. Because it's like those internal tapes are still running. So, there's a frog and a scorpion sitting on the bank of a river. And scorpion wants to cross the river and says to the frog, why don't I just jump on your back and you can swim us both across the river? And the frog says, why would I do that? You'll jump on my back, I'll swim halfway across the river, you'll sting me, and then we'll both drown. Scorpion says, that doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't want to drown. The frog says, you're right, jump on. So the scorpion jumps on the frog's back, and the frog starts swimming across the river. Gets halfway across the river, and guess what the scorpion does? Stings the frog. And as they're going down, the frog says, why did you sting me? Now we're both going to drown. The scorpion says, because I'm a scorpion. What do scorpions do? They sting. Some people are flaky. What do flaky people do? They're flaky. They flake. And so stop taking that personally. When people are flaky, when they don't call you back, when they say they had an appointment with you and it's 10 o'clock and the appointment was at 9 and you call and they say, oh, I was just still sleeping. That's just them. Once a scorpion, always a scorpion. Whoa, this is good, Steve. Did you make this slide good? It's all right. You gotta get put your reading glasses on for this. No. Yeah, that's all right. Good excuse, good excuse. So if you're taking notes, my slide. All right, so if you're taking notes, we're talking here about, I'll interpret for you. We're talking here about skeptics and cynics. Skeptics are good. Cynics are dangerous. Skeptics are good. Cynics are dangerous. A skeptic, the way it sounds is, all right, I like this, but I have questions. Or, all right, I like this, but is it a pyramid? Or, all right, I kind of get it, but I know lots of people that have never made money in the market. Or, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like it's a big question that they have. Whenever you have a skeptic, skeptics are good because if you can overcome someone's skepticism, they become your best distributors. Because they tell people, I was a skeptic, but then this is what I learned. They're really good distributors. How many of you were skeptics before you got into SendOutCards? Raise your hand. Look around. Like a third of the room was skeptics before they got in, and now they're here. Skeptics are good. They just need to have their questions answered. The way you handle a skeptic, if you're taking notes, write this down, offer proof. The way you handle a skeptic is offer proof. Now, proof in Eric Worre's world, he calls it third-party validation. Same thing. Something else that you can show them or play for them or have them listen to or have them meet someone that you can have them meet that will help to add another layer of credibility, right? Layer of credibility. So like, for example, a video, a testimonial, a magazine that has stories in it, bringing them to an event, putting them on a conference call. And I use the same thing. The worst thing you can do is try and talk your way out of it. When somebody's skeptical, don't talk your way out of it. You'll just dig yourself a deeper hole. So when someone's skeptical, when you go ding, 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 skeptic, offer proof. That means you're going to need to put them on the call. Tell you what I'd like to do is invite you to listen in on a call on Monday night. And then, or I'll forward you a link, a 25-minute call you can listen to. And just listen to it, and I think it's going to answer all your questions. Does that make sense? Use third party. Offer proof. Cynics are dangerous. A cynic is somebody that is just trying to bring you down, trying to take you down. I can tell you the names of the people in my life that have tried to take you down in this business. Those people, you got to separate yourself from them. Like, get as far away. Now, if they're family members, don't talk about the business. See, my dad was a cynic for many years. He's not anymore. He loves SendOutCards. Now, I've taken him on cruises. I bought him a car. He loves SendOutCards. In fact, my dad, he received, he had a heart attack a few weeks ago, and he's not doing well, actually. He's at home, he's 82. But he received probably from some of you, did any of you send him a card? A few of you did. Thank you for doing that. He received like 300 cards, and he loves SendOutCards, and he loves what I do. And he brags about me. He brags about my book. Every time I see him, he says, I gave away 5 more copies of your book. Can you get me 5 more? No, that's what he does. So, my dad was a cynic, though. And there was one year that I knew that I could not talk to my dad about my business. Even before I was making money. If I brought it up, we would end up in a fight. And I was sitting at the Thanksgiving table, dinner table, in probably my 8th network marketing company at that point. And my dad asked me how the business was going. And I knew that if I said a word, it would end up in a fight at this Thanksgiving table, and I didn't listen to my inner voice. And I told him, I love the company, it's going great, I love it, I think it's going to be really big, blah, blah, blah. This is a company I never signed a distributor in. But we ended up in a big fight. I got up, I left, I slammed the front door, and I didn't come back on Thanksgiving night. After Thanksgiving dinner. So you got those cynics in your life, don't engage with them about the business. If you're sitting with somebody that turns into a cynic quickly, just close your book and leave. Close your computer and leave. It's not worth it. They're dangerous. They'll take you down. Don't quit on a bad day. But you have to be able to distinguish between a cynic and a skeptic. Okay? Questions on that? All right. What? Oh. Oh. Yeah. Okay, there's two reasons. There's flaky, inconsiderate people. There's two reasons why people are flaky. The first reason they're flaky is because they're just flaky. That's it. The second reason they're flaky is because they don't want to meet with you. Send them a card. Get off it. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. If you keep sending people nice cards, at some point they open up. And they go, okay, tell me more. At some point. I signed up a woman that has a few hundred distributors in her organization, probably close to 1,000 now. And she, we've known each other for a long time. But she took 5 years from the time I sent her the first card to the time I first tried to get together with her. 5 years before she signed up. Steve, I mean, he came back to send out cards. I mean, I sent him, I signed him up as a customer back 10 years ago, and now he's here with us. And just like in the past 6-8 months. Oh, Steve, dude. All right, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I might have to wing it. Which I can do. Hold on. I'm going to actually go back. If I close this, will I get out of everything? Okay. We're going to go here because we're leaving these. I'm changing my presentation. Yeah, so the only other thing I want to say on that is one other thing. This will help to increase the, remember that little invitation bullet point thing we did where, you know, keep it simple and short, be in a rush, ask questions, or answer questions later, blah, 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 that. Well, there's one other thing you can do that will save you a lot of time, that will really help in your time management with meeting with people. And it's a little phrase, and if you want to write it down, I'll just tell it to you. I'll say it slowly. I'll say it normal, and then I'll say it slowly. So it goes something like this. I know you're busy, and I'm busy too, and I respect your time. I know you're busy, and I'm busy too, and I respect your time. If something comes up, I would really appreciate it if you give me a call and let me know. And I'll do the same for you. So when you set your appointment, you say that at the end, and they're more likely to call you. It's funny when you call somebody like 2 hours before to confirm, and they say, oh, I was going to call you, and you know that you were going to show up and they weren't going to be there. Have you ever had that happen? Yeah. So then what I do is about an hour or two, or the night before, I text them or I call just to confirm. So it's very, very, very rare that I get no-show, because I do this. I say, look, I'm busy, and I know you're busy too. I'm busy, I know you're busy too. I respect your time, and I hope you would respect mine. The only thing I ask is if something comes up and you can't make it, that you call me and let me know, okay? And I get their confirmation. So it's kind of a little inoculation. Does that make sense? That can really help a lot. Somebody taught me that, and it had a huge impact. So there's little things that you can do in your business that can significantly increase your income or increase your chances of succeeding in the business. I want to talk a little bit about that, and I also want to spend a minute and talk about width and depth. Not a lot of time on it, but I want you to know that width in our business, that means that the people you personally sign up in the business, that represents income, and depth in the business, those are the people who come underneath your organization, represents security in your business. So there's many of you in this room that some of you I've never even met that are in this room, that are in my organization like 15 levels down, 20 levels down. That's security. You are out there building your business, and it provides me with a little bit of income, but I've got thousands of places where I get a little bit of income that's way down in depth with people that I don't know, that are not building the business for me. You're building it for you and your family. Does that make sense? So over time, as your organization matures, you'll have all over the provinces of Canada and all over the United States, eventually in other countries, you'll have pockets of growth that produce $50 a month, or $100 a month, or $150 a month, or $1,000 a month in your organization. That's your security. So, like, some people wonder, like, why, besides the fact that I love coming to visit you guys and meet new people and all that, but from a business standpoint, why do I spend my time and money to come to Toronto on a weekend? It builds security for me. Did you get that? Because I'm helping to motivate, hopefully, to some level, some of you, and inspire you to go build your business. And then what I'm looking for is, now tell me if you like this, I'm looking for people in your organizations in other provinces, in other cities, in other states, that I can do the same for them. Do you like that? Why? It helps you, doesn't it? So that's anchoring the leg. In the beginning, it's one person at a time. In the beginning, it's going to the cafe, which I did hundreds of those, where I'm going to the cafe and meeting with somebody and then having them bring somebody and then looking for the next person underneath them. One person at a time, and then eventually you get little pockets where it's like 5 people and then 10 people, and then eventually you have someone like Melissa and Negan and the group comes together and says, let's do a meeting and see if we can get Jordan seat. And then we have a larger group. And then from there, now we're at this place where there's not too many places where myself and Steve can't go, where we go there and there's at least 100 people. Pretty much anywhere we go, there's 100 people. Which to some of you sounds like a lot of people, but it's not. Because Steve and I, we come from an environment where if we showed up at a place in our last company where there weren't 1,000 people, that was not good. Like if 1,000 people was like okay. Because we were used to going places where there were 5,000 people. You could pretty much go anywhere where there'd be 5,000 people to show up. Anywhere. So these kinds of meetings, they're fun and it's great, but they're small. This is a small meeting. Okay? And there are companies out there, there are network marketing companies out there right now that, you know, they do 4 meetings a year with 20,000 people in each meeting. We have one convention with 2,000 people. And they'll do 4 a year with 20,000. So we are a big, small network marketing company. Potential is huge. But the point that I'm making as far as depth goes is your security is in depth. Your income is in width. You have to go wide before you can go deep. And going wide simply means personally sponsoring your distributors. Now some people wonder, why am I? Because I qualified for the pool in May, in June, in July, in April, May, what month are we in right now? June. I qualified for the pool in the first March, April, and May. I double dipped all 3 months, and I'm triple dipping this month. Now, why would I do that? A, I want to be a good example for my team. The speed of the leader does determine the speed of the pack. So I want to be able to say to you, I'm doing what I'm asking you to do. And it's challenging, because I'm busy, just like you guys. I mean, I'm making lists. It's not easy for me. I mean, just like it's not for you. I'm meeting people. I'm adding names to my list. I'm numbering my splash pack activations. I'm looking for my preferred customers. I'm looking for my next distributor all the time. I'm sending out cards, all those things. Triple dipping is not easy, but it's doable. So, but I need to personally sponsor distributors. I don't have to do it today. But as Steve mentioned, my goal, and I believe it's possible to earn $1 million a month. In order for me to do that, I got to help a lot of people make $100,000. I got to help a lot of people do what I've done. So I'm sponsoring new people. I'm always sponsoring. So I sponsor 3, 4, and then this month I'll sponsor 3. I've got 2 already sponsored. Which I've got to go out and do the work. It just doesn't happen. I got to go out and do it just like you. I'm showing the business every day. As far as how much time I work about 3 to 4 hours a day. But this is my business. If you've got a family and a job, you might only be able to do 1 a day. So do 1 a day for now, until you can get to the point where you can do 1. So I want to give you a glimpse into the organization. And I'm doing this to expand your vision a little bit. Now, I've been doing this 10 years, but this will expand your vision. I've sponsored 285 people personally in 10 years. Now, anybody have a calculator? How many months are there in 10 years? 120 months. And if you divide 285 into 120, how many is that per month? 2.5 distributors a month. Is that doable working part-time? Absolutely. 2.5 new distributors a month working part-time. If you show the business once a day, you'll get 2.5 distributors a month. If you activate 1 splash pack a day, you should get 2.5 distributors. Now, I'm going to let you decide. You guys are already a sick crowd, I know that. I'm going to let you decide how you split up that half. You know? Now, of the 285, you ready for this? 278 of them have quit or become customers. Out of 285. 7 of them, that's the income that I receive every month off those groups. This is just the residual, it's not the bonuses. Just the residual. So the remaining 278 legs result in $10,000 a month. Those added up is the total of my residual check. From the, those are added up are the total. Have you seen this slide? So the residual check, these legs, these 7 legs right here, are the 7 legs that constitute 90% of my residual checks. Not my bonuses, my residual check. the remaining 278 people that I signed up are responsible for $10,000 money combined. So you want the formula? I'm going to tell you the formula. Sponsor 2 to 3 distributors a month for the next 10 years. And over time, your income will grow. See, I'm in pursuit of, I'm signing up 3 distributors a month right now, every month for the next 10 years. Knowing that I'm going to duplicate this, but it's going to be much faster this time because it's sincere. It's a mountain to climb. And I also know I'm going to help thousands and thousands and thousands of other people make money in the process of this. Make sense? That's right. That's exactly right. Yep, that's right. So the Ray Kroc philosophy. How am I doing on time, Jim? All right. Who was Ray Kroc? I'm not obsessed with the guy. He's the guy that started McDonald's. Now, would you all agree that McDonald's has the best burger in the world? None of you are eating it. Somebody's eating it. They sell more burgers than any other company on the planet, but nobody's eating it. But they don't have the best burger in the world, but they have the best distribution system in the world. So Ray Kroc, this is how McDonald's started. Ray actually, when he was 52 years old, he invented a milkshake machine that would make 5 milkshakes all at the same time. The problem is there was no company that wanted a milkshake machine that would make 5 milkshakes. So he was running around in a station wagon trying to sell it to restaurants, and no one wanted it. In fact, he was so crazy about the idea that his wife left him because he was never home. He was trying to sell his milkshake machine. He's in Southern California, and he sees these guys called the McDonald's brothers, and they have a little fast food stand, and there's people lined up around the block to get their burgers, fries, cokes, and shakes. And he was intrigued by it. They didn't want his milkshake machine, but he was intrigued by it. And he sat in a station wagon with a yellow pad, and he started making notes. Like, how can he take this idea and sell it to people? The idea of the franchise. It wasn't called a franchise, the idea of the business. And he presented it to them, and he offered it, and they said no. They had no interest at all. 4 years later, he finally got an opportunity to buy them out. And then he put together this idea called franchising, which no one was doing in the early 60s. He was one of the first. He put together the idea of franchising and created a business opportunity where people could buy for $75,000 the idea for McDonald's. And he called it McDonald's. The government came after him and said he was running an illegal pyramid scheme. And he went to battle against the U.S. government for almost 7 years. If he had lost, we would not know franchising today in the world. But he won. And today, what happened was, years ago, his experts would come to him and say, Ray, you've got to get into fish. You've got to get into chicken. Because McDonald's, or Burger King is doing chicken. They're selling lots of chicken. And Ray said, no, that's not the business we're in. We need to open more outlets. Let's sell more businesses. Let's get more franchises out there. And so they continued to focus on that. And then later, they came, Ray, you got to get into fish. He said, no, that's not our business. Our business is outlets. Our business is opening businesses. Go out there and get more outlets. He said, the day we offer chicken, we'll be #1 in chicken sales. The day we offer fish, we'll be #1 in fish sales. Why? Because we'll have more outlets. That's what he did. And the day that McDonald's launched chicken, they were #1 in the world in chicken sales. The day they launched fish, they were #1 in the world in fish sales. And they buy more toilet paper than any company in the world. Does anyone know why? I know that. Is it that bad? Really? So, what business are we in? We're in the business of opening outlets. We're in the business of offering a business opportunity. See, I learned though. You notice that I learned. I'm like that dog that has like the fence. I've learned that I have to stay within this confine right here. Our job is to offer the opportunity. The $395 distributor package is a way that somebody can start a business. It gives them the potential that's significantly greater than a job or a traditional business, and it has a residual component which they will never, ever, ever have their job. The day they leave their job, their income stops. Here's something that they can build up over time. They can have a significant income on their lifestyle, a significant impact on their lifestyle. It can change their lifestyle significantly. So I want to talk about Mark Bertrand. Mark's he was one of my earlier distributors. Came in on my first year of the business. And Mark, he would stand up here on stage with me, he would tell you the same thing. He's not a big thinker. Mark doesn't have a huge vision. In fact, it's hard for him to imagine making a lot of money in SendOutCards or in network marketing. But Mark, when he got into SendOutCards, he had never had success in network marketing. And when I talked to him about SendOutCards, he was getting ready to go to the hospital for some surgery. He said, "Well, I had some serious surgery that involved his face and a little bit of his nose and his brain, bad stuff. And he was going to be tied up, healing for a while. But he said, when I start to feel better, we'll get together." Well, we did get together, and he did sign up with me. And he said, "My goal is just to have $100 a month coming in so I can cover my cell phone." Now, he didn't have a big vision. Cody talks about the why that made him cry. Paying a cell phone bill didn't make him cry. Right? He just wanted to do that. But then when he got his income to $100 a month, then he said, "Now, if I can just cover my car payment, if I can get myself to an extra $300 a month to cover my car payment, I'll feel good about that." And he worked a little more, and he got to that point. And that was only it was a year. And then he said, "Maybe I cover my insurance." And he kept doing this, and he kept adding $100 or $200 or $300 a month to his income. And eventually got to a point. He lived in LA at the time, but his dream was to move to Portland. But he couldn't move to Portland with his situation. So he got his income to a point where he could pay his bills, his residual income, where he could pay his bills on his residual income. And he moved to Portland. And Mark's been living now on a SendOutCards residual income in Portland for the past 6.5 years. Mark just took the last 3 years off and wrote a book called Hanging Out for a Living. Some of you may have heard it. He's been living off his residual income. His dream, the thing that did make him cry, was to write a book that would inspire people. That was inspiring to him. And he built his residual income up to a point where he could do that without having to worry about going to a job. He could write when he wanted to smoke cigars. And he'll sit with his cigar and write on his computer. And he wrote a book, you guys. I don't know if you've ever heard of Og Mandino. You ever heard of Richard Bach or Og Mandino? Two of the best authors in the history of writing, for modern writing. Richard Bach wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Illusions, and A Gift of Wings, and Bridge Across Forever, and One, and some other books. And then Og Mandino wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World, and The Choice, and all that. Mark Bertrand's book is as good of either of those. I mean, it was a 3-year project, and it is so good. And it's a book that when you read it, you're going to want all your friends to read it. It's called Hanging Out for a Living. Mark Bertrand. HDR, it's right there. Mark Bertrand. He was a welder and a Yellow Pages salesman when he got involved with SendOutCards. So you don't have to have big dreams. If you have big dreams, that's great. One of the things I recommend that you do is have a little journal, and every time a thought or a dream pops into your head, write it down, so you don't forget it. Like it inspired you in that moment, so write it down so you don't forget it. Some of the things I wrote down 25 years ago are coming true right now. You know, it took me 20 years from the time I actually wrote down $100,000 a month in income. It took me 20 years before I finally had $100,000 a month. And now it's been like almost 5 years. I have had months under $100,000 a month in 5 years. But it took 20 years. You don't have to thank you, but thank you. It took 20 years to get. I've got goals that I wrote down many, many years ago. But when they come to your mind, write them down. In today's technology and today's opportunities, you can get there much quicker, much quicker today because of the internet, because of technology, because of the vehicle that you have. So I have a couple stories that I want to close with. I want to talk about this for just a moment. So my accountant called me 4 years ago. He said, "Jordan, you really ought to get a place in Vegas. Call Vegas your home. You don't have to change anything, but just do that because it would save you a significant amount of money on taxes because Nevada doesn't have a state tax, which would save me on state tax. It's like 10% of my income is what I would get back as a result of being in that state." So I wasn't really sure about it, but I said, yeah, it makes sense. So I got a realtor and I started looking at places, and I found this ridiculously awesome place right on the strip with floor-to-ceiling windows about as high as this, looking north and south on the strip. I mean, just an incredible place. And it was leased by the developer, a lease option. $3.5 million place. It was for lease for a ridiculously low amount of money compared to the price of the place, because they wanted to get people that could afford it in there. And so, and there's a lot of famous people that live in there, and it's a non-casino hotel. There's no machines or anything. But everything above the 23rd floor is residence. So I got one, and I've lived there now for 3.5 years. In March, I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to do. But my point is, I'm in my condo, and I have get-togethers with my team, and we do things. And I'm watching helicopters giving tours of the strip all day long. And one day, it just was a flash of inspiration. I was sitting there going, and you got to understand, in the world that I grew up in, just being in the presence of a helicopter didn't exist. Like, to see a helicopter in person was not in my world. So I'm watching this, and I go, what if I could invite my friends to Vegas and say, let's go for a tour of the strip. And they jump in the helicopter, and I take them on a tour of the strip at night. Or what if we could go and fly to a little town and land and go have, I can take my girlfriend and her kids and go have lunch and then get back in the helicopter and do like fun stuff like that. But you gotta understand that in my mind, in my brain, flying helicopters was kind of like not possible. But I know the steps. The steps are, first you gotta dream it, write it down. Second, you've gotta schedule it. You gotta put it on the schedule, like on your calendar. Third, you've got to trust the process, knowing that other people have done it for you. Trust the process. And the fourth thing is to see the job through. Don't quit until it's done. So I went online and I found a helicopter school, 702 helicopters, and I called them. I was a little nervous, and I said, I'd like to come in and learn about flying helicopters. So I go in and they take me out. It was $100, and they gave me a tour of the helicopter, and we got in there, and we got up, and I got to hold controls, and I'm like, this is pretty cool, and I want to be able to do this, and I know the next step is to put it on the calendar, so I scheduled my couple of lessons and paid my money, and I started going through it. Now, there's been probably, in a year and a half, there's probably been 10 times where I did not want to go to school that day, because it was what I was going to be doing that day was so overwhelming, like fear of death kind of overwhelming, right, that I didn't want to go in. But I knew that if I wanted to ever have the dream of flying helicopters, I needed to go back to school. And there was one day I remember that I was told, my instructor Travis, 23-year-old instructor Travis said, today we're going to be doing auto rotation. Now who knows what an auto rotation is? What's an auto rotation?
Switch the engine on.
Stand up and tell everybody.
Well, on helicopters,
No, just a brief one.
You turn the engine off, the finish. Max the pitch and let the helicopter drop like an express.
No engine. Now you have
Just before you hit the ground, you pull up the stick on this side, the blades do this, and acts like a parachute, you go bounce.
Right. Thank you. so they were very good description. Yeah. So I knew that I was going to have to learn to do auto rotation, and that sounded really scary to me. Now, there's so much going on in a helicopter all at the same time. It's like, it's mind-boggling. Talk about multitasking, like you're doing 15 things all at the same time. And when you're learning it, it feels so overwhelming. And it feels impossible. But every time you go in, it gets a little easier, and then they add new things that make it harder again, and then it gets easier. And I just had an experience like this. So by the way, I've done about 100 auto rotations. Soloing was an experience. But I've been delaying my cross-country solo because it's 137 miles, 3 airports by myself in a helicopter. And it's scary to me. There's navigation, there's other airplanes, there's airspace, you're talking to the tower, all the different things going on. Plus you're having to fly the helicopter and make sure everything stays the way it's supposed to, right? So I did, the day before I left for this trip, it was actually on Thursday, we jumped in the helicopter, we did our flight plan, and my instructor said to me, today, all of you, I'm not going to say a word, 137 miles. And I started the helicopter, I flew to Mesquite, landed, flew to Perkins, landed, flew back to Las Vegas Airport, 137 miles by myself, but he was with me. So when I get back, I get to do it on my own. The process is the same with this business. When I think back of what I did to build my network marketing business, it's the same process. There are people that have gone before you. Trust the process. See the job through. Don't quit till it's done. Write down your dreams. Are y'all seeing that? It's all the same. So Travis, at one point, it took me 5 hours to hover the helicopter. And he said to me one time, he says, Jordan, if you can keep it within a football field, I'll buy you a pizza. I mean, you've got your yaw, which is your foot pedals. You've got your, do you fly helicopters?
No,
you know how they work, yeah. You've got your collective, which controls the pitch of the helicopter blades, which is up and down. You've got your cyclic, which is forward, back, left, and right. So this is forward, this is back, this is left, this is right, this is up, this is down, this is this. Your brain's not wired this way. So he says the first time we're hovering, which is like just lift the helicopter up about 8 feet off the tarmac and just hover. I mean, it's so easy. I watch him do it every day. It's like nothing to it, right? He says if you keep it within a football field, I'll buy a pizza. First time we did it, I mean, I'm talking like a quarter of a second. I was 100 yards. I mean, it took me 5 times. The helicopter's like hanging by a thread, and it tends to want to swing. And every little movement causes the helicopter to start going all over the place. And it's the speed of, it's your thought. It's like the movements are so small. It's like thinking. You can't see the movements. It's like forward, 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 back, back, back. Watch. Right, 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 center, 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 left, 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 center, center, right, right, right. You see it? I'm doing it. Right, 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 center, 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 left, 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 left. I'm doing it. That's how small it is. Travis finally, after 2 hours of this, he finally says to me, Jordan, I can't teach you how to do it. You just got to do it until you get it. That's how it is in network marketing. Some of you have been coming back to network marketing trainings for years. You still haven't made money. It doesn't happen in here. You've got to go out and get in the helicopter. You've got to go out and do it. I can take notes on how to fly a helicopter all day long, and it's not going to make a bit difference until I get in the helicopter. I can't teach you how to do it. I sat in these trainings for 11 years with 10 different network marketing, 10 years with 11 different network marketing companies. But until I actually went out there and learned the lessons, all of you, everybody in this room, you have your dreams. That's why you spend your Saturday here. You have your dreams. That's why you're here. But it's not going to happen in here. You got to go out and start activating splash pads and asking people to send a card on the system. And being like excited about it, but not attached to the outcome. Right? And just go do that every day, as long as it takes. And know you're going to have your ups and your downs. Don't put it on a bad day. I'm going to tell another story, 5 minutes. Can I close up the story? Yeah, can I close up the story? All right. Okay, good. Now, Zahn, forgive me. Where's Zahn? Dad, forgive me because I'm going to give the abbreviated version, but I am going to give credit where credit is due. Is it your brother-in-law? Your sister-in-law? So is your brother's wife? Brother's wife. She's the one that brought it over? Brother. She's the one that went back down to South Africa. Okay. To find out what? Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell you a story about a guy named Rodriguez. And this guy was in Detroit, and he played guitar. He was a guitar in the 60s. He was a guitar player and a singer, songwriter. And he would play in the bars in Detroit. And people liked him, but nobody really knew him. He was kind of like transient, like they didn't know where he lived, they didn't know if he lived on the streets, they didn't know where. He just kind of would come in and play and leave, and he was good, and people remembered him. But then he played for a few years, and he actually even made a couple of records, and sold like 6 copies of one record, and didn't do, none of his records did very well, but then he kind of just disappeared. He like evaporated. Nobody knew where exactly he went. Well, years later, his music somehow showed up in South Africa. And there's a connection between Zan and his sister-in-law that has to do with that record ending up in South Africa. But that record, that music, now you gotta remember, back then it wasn't like on the internet where you could just grab music off the internet. For a record to get from Detroit to South Africa, that wasn't like just send it over, you know what I'm saying? It's like there had to be a copy of it that ended up down there, and somebody had to make copies of it. But what happened was this one song became the anthem for South Africa during apartheid. In fact, it got so big that this guy who was mythological, though they only knew his name, Rodriguez, they didn't know where he was from or who he was. They didn't know if he was dead or alive. Nobody knew who he was. But he became bigger than Elvis, bigger than the Beatles in South Africa. And there was a guy that decided, and I need to research a little more, he can tell you the details, but there's a guy that decided to research who this guy is and where he is. And they turned it into a movie called Searching for Sugar Man. And they found the guy living in the projects on welfare in Detroit. Yeah. And they flew him to South Africa, and he played how many concerts? 5 concerts, 20,000 people at each concert. There's a movie called Searching for Sugar Man that will give you chills. Now, the reason I tell you the story, when you join SendOutCards and you start sending cards and you start sponsoring people, there are people that whose lives will be changed forever for the good because of what you've done. You'll never know it. In some cases, thousands or tens of thousands, generations of people's lives will change as a result of your involvement with this company. You will leave a legacy as a result of being involved with SendOutCards, much like Rodriguez did in Searching for Sugar Man. So I recommend you get that looked at. And Sandy, you can correct me afterwards on this parts of the story that I was close though. Was that close? Yeah. So, all right. Thank you guys. Love you and congratulations.
ADLER, everybody. Hey, let's wrap this up. I'm just going to try to tie a bow around this a little bit. I know many of you are probably sitting here and you're watching all of this and you're like, oh my gosh, Jordan's talking about helicopters and people that make millions of dollars a month, and oh my gosh, I just want to make my car payment. You know, that kind of stuff. I will flat out tell you this. This business has absolutely nothing to do with talent. Lord knows that. It has everything to do with being persistent. And truly, truly figuring out what you want to get out of this business. Because if you can figure out what you want, you really, really know why you're doing this. You'll figure out the how. Everybody will figure out the how. I mean, if your life depended on it, you'll figure out how to do this. My life depended on it. Because I was a school teacher, I remember one time, and Jordan, I think you remember this story. When you don't have any money, you remember exact figures. Yeah. I remember this was before I got involved in network marketing. This was like 1988, 89. Megan was born, and I remember looking in my checkbook, and I had $46.46 with no groceries in the house for the entire month. And I just said to myself, this is insane. I have to do something. I have to do something. And when you read in the book, you'll read the story of how I found this industry and all that kind of stuff. But I just figured it out. I would go to events, and Jordan and I would go to events together. We'd go to these big national conventions, and we're sitting in the back of the room, and we're looking at these people walking across the stage, making more in a month than we made in a year. And I would just sit there, and I would get mad. I'd be happy for those people and pissed at the same time, And I just said to myself, I want that. I have no idea how I'm going to get it, but I want that. And I just started hanging out with these people. And I just started figuring out, what made them tick. And you know what I found out? They have nothing on me. They have nothing on me. You know what Jordan has on you guys? Nothing. Except time. He's just been doing it longer than you have. He's just been collecting no's longer than you have. That's all he's been doing. That's all I've been doing for the past 24 years is just trying to sort people out. Does everybody in this room believe that they can bring 3 people into the business as marketing distributors? Okay, that makes you a manager. Congratulations. Don't celebrate because you're just getting started. Now, since you already brought in 3, can you go do that again? Okay, so now you've got a grand total of 6, right? And underneath that second group of 3, can you teach them to do the exact same thing you just did? Now you're a senior manager. Great job. Don't celebrate too much because you haven't even started yet. Now can you teach 5 people to go do exactly what you just did? And now you're an executive. And let me just show you these numbers because it gets kind of crazy. You promote to executive, which is you becoming a senior manager, which means you only have 15 total people in your downline if you skin the cat clean. Right? That's all it is. It's 3, and then you go get 3 more, and they each go get 3. That's 15 total. Total people. You're a senior manager. Now, teach 5 people. Go out there and teach 5 people to do that exact same thing, and you become an executive. That's it. You're an executive. Now, what does that mean? Well, congratulations, but now your business starts. Isn't that depressing? You got about 100 people in your group. Now your business starts. As an executive, go bring in 3 and teach them to get 3. Who get 3? Who get 3? Who get 3? Look at these numbers, you guys. 3 who get 3, who get 3, who get 3. 7 levels deep. These are the percentages that we make every single month. Your monthly, assuming that everybody in this group just has $93 in personal and customer volume, just 93. Themselves plus 2 others, just the minimums. Your monthly residual income from this example right here is almost $58,000 a month. Now I know you look at that and go, I can almost live on that. But I want to show you these numbers. Oh, and by the way, as an executive, just, oh my gosh, go back. Oh my gosh, hold on, oh my gosh, hold on. Jordan messed with my computer. We're getting there. Now we're gonna have fish, hamburger, shakes, and fries. Oh, of course, look at. Every time I talk, he sits over here and takes notes, and then he's trying to make it better. I know. Big time screwed. Well, you guys, watch this. On all of these reps that come into your group here, in your executive code, you're making $180 a piece. So that's another almost $600,000 in leadership coding bonuses. So you sit there and you go, okay, I just made $600 grand, and I'm making $58,000 a month. And what did I do to do that? I became an executive, and then I brought 3 people into the business. So when Jordan's talking about helicopters and lifestyle and travel, it's like, okay, how do you get there? This is how you get there. Just step by step, by step, by step, by step, just baby steps. Now, in my example here, I stopped at 7 levels. But our residuals and our coding bonuses are paid to an unlimited number of levels. That's spelled wrong. That's wrong. Okay, we'll fix that. This computer is whacked right now. I don't know what's going on. It's Canada. That's how you spell it in Canada? Well, watch this. Guys, I don't know what's going on with this today. It's just kind of, I did the 13th yesterday. Yeah. But watch this, you guys. I mean, I just stopped at 7 levels because I blow you away with these numbers, right? But they don't stop at 7 levels. I mean, if I continue to go any further, you guys would walk out of the room. So let's give it a shot. Why am I assuming that these 2,187 people are going to stop? What if they just went out and got 3? Who got 3? Who got 3? What if everybody just got 3? Just 3. Guys, look at your residual income now. 1.2 million a month, and you've made almost $16 million in total. I know these numbers are crazy, but Jordan can tell you he's got personal friends, 10 off the top of his head, that make that every 30 days. You sit there and go, well, how do you do that? Become a manager, become a senior manager, and then teach other people how to do the exact same thing. And you know what? Sometimes it is. And Jordan was a big, big part in me writing this book. You know, Jordan wrote Beach Money, and he's like, when are you going to write your book? When are you going to? I'm like, I don't have anything to say. and he said to me, and he kind of put me in my place a little bit. He goes, every time that you get up in front of people, you're telling your story. Just put it in print. And so Jordan was a really, really big part in me putting this book together. I am not an author. I'm not a writer whatsoever. And I'll tell a group of people that last night. When the editors got a hold of my book, which Vanessa was my chief editor, she said, she goes, you can't say it this way. I'm like, no, you have to leave it that way because I want people that, those of you who've read the book, I want you to think that you're having a conversation with me right now. And I use you guys like a comma. And sometimes I think I even wrote that in the book. I'm like, all right, guys, listen. I even said that in the book. I talked to you like that in the book. But the reason I wrote this book, and the reason that we titled it the way we did, was my entire life. People would come up to me and they'd say, oh, money's not everything. Money brings out the evil in people. And the only people I ever heard that from were people who didn't have any money. And guys, as you go through and you build your business, you're going to hear excuse after excuse after excuse of why this won't work. Of why this won't work. And you're going to hear it from people who are broke. Who are dead broke. And so my advice to you is don't take financial advice from people you don't want to be like financially. You know, I dare people to tell me that this industry doesn't work. I dare people to tell me that SendOutCards doesn't work. You know, I've got family members that are not part of my business. You know, and I've got good friends, college roommates. And the excuse now is, oh, you got in at the right time. You've got the right personality for that. You know, you got lucky. You'll hear that a ton of times. And my standard answer there is, yeah, the more business presentations I give, the luckier I get. Right? I don't know if this is queued up, but I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but maybe this will help you answer some of those objections.
Money is the root of all evil.
No, the love of money is the root of all evil.
You need to get a real job.
I've made more money in a year in this industry than I would have in a lifetime teaching school.
Money makes people lazy and corrupt.
No, I believe if you're a good person with money, you'll do good things.
It takes money to make money.
No, I was a dead broke school teacher with a wife and 2 kids under 2. I had no money. Did you recognize Roger in that? Yeah! Roger was so funny. I'm like, Roger, I need you. I need you to do this. That book is not going to tell you how to build a business. Jordan's will teach you a little bit more on how to build this. But it's gonna keep your head in the game. Because 70% of what we do is keeping your head in the game. It's gonna teach you guys exactly what you're gonna go through in building a business like this. I hope you guys walk away here today understanding how big this opportunity really is. It's bigger than any of us have an idea of how big it is. I mean, Cody talks about a $1 billion company. It's like, this thing's bigger than that. I mean, this sincere thing is absolutely amazing. And the response that we're getting from it right now is crazy. We haven't even launched the beta part of it yet. But I want you to put yourself in a position that says, I can be a part of this. I can become a $1 million earner. I can walk across that stage as a $1 million earner. I can do the things in life that I really want to do. But I want you to understand that you can get there by just taking baby steps. You're not going to become an executive tomorrow. You're going to become a manager tomorrow. Jordan becomes a manager every single month. Sponsors 2 to 3 people every single month. And if you go out there, become a product of the product, sell a card a day, a gift a week, try to qualify for the pool every single month, and teach it, everything else takes care of itself. Melissa, you have got an unbelievable group of people working with you. You got a great team. You got a great team. Regardless, and what Melissa said to me, she's like, okay, we have this many people, and regardless of downline affiliation, she doesn't care who's in who's downline. Everybody's working together, and this girl is a giver, 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 and you guys are unbelievably fortunate to have her right here working with you on a daily basis. Please help me welcome Eagle Distributor, Melissa Martin.
Thank you. We're not done yet, though. We're done with these guys. But we're not done yet. We've got to give me about 20 minutes. We're hanging out for a living. I love that. That's his book, Hanging Out for a Living. And even though I'm not executive yet or Eagle yet, that's what I feel like I do. I hang out for a living. I hang out with my kids for a living. I hang out with my husband for a living. I hang out with my friends, my business. Friends. I feel like I'm enjoying this lifestyle as I'm building my business. So I feel so fortunate that I've been able to do that and also help other people to do that as well. So because we are a stand-up and cheer on your feet kind of people, I wanted to just take a moment to recognize people who are doing things in this business and people who are stepping up and taking action in their own lives. So first I'd like to get all the managers in the room to stand up so that we can recognize you and give you a big round of applause. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. And now if you can get all the senior managers in the room to stand up. And executives, we have the executives. I know one in particular. Congratulations. Now, because we are a giving kind of company, we do have some door prizes. And I want Penny Trombley, I'd like Penny to come up to the stand. She's got some treats for us. Penny Trombley is a senior manager to SendOutCards, and she just recently launched her own book. So she has graciously offered to donate. How many do we have here? We've got 3 to donate. So the title of her book is called Give and Be Rich. And the foreword is by Cody Bateman, and she's interviewed like some Jordan ADLER and some other Lori Hayes and some other people, very successful people to SendOutCards business. So Adriana, could I get you up here with the raffle tickets? And we'll have Penny to draw those tickets for us. Oh, I healed. Also, Megan, would you mind, and Julie Skelding coming on up and grabbing the other prizes over here. And once we get Adriana, we'll draw some names. Thank you. Oh, Adriana's coming up with the tickets. But Julie and Megan grabbing the gifts. And we've got Adriana with the tickets here. So, Penny, would you mind coming on over and grabbing a couple? Yeah, grab three of them. So, hopefully you guys still have your tickets. And the tickets were given to the guests. So we do have a distributor prize as well. All right. So do we have the numbers? All right. Thank you. So we've got 731023. Do we have 731023 in the room? I know some people had to leave a drink. Yay! There you go. There's Penny chocolate, both give and be good. I'm sure Penny will sign that for you, unless they're not already signed. Okay, and the next one we have 024. So 731024. And the last one is 731026. Did I do that already? 731026. Going once, going twice. That one's gone. I'll pick the next one. 731043. Alright, so we're going to say, Julie, do you want to come over and pick three more? Thank you. Oh, do we have one more book left? That's it. Awesome. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Okay, no problem. All right, so we've got three more guest prizes to give away. Great, great, great. Okay, so 731 012. No, 012. All right, 051. 051, going once, going twice, that's gone. You gotta pay attention here. 993. Give me one on now. Come on, Dad, get your prize. You gotta send out cards, prize package here. Next number, Julie? 038. 038. Yay! And we have one more. 001. Do we have a 001? Yeah! Congratulations. All right, so Jordan, you're going to pick the lucky number. Yeah, you grab it for beach money. Great.
731.
We have a prize winner here.
731.
731 for Jordan.
017.
Oh, 01. 731017. Do we have a winner? Yeah, I think so.
All right. I have one Beach Money audiobook with me, and what I would like to do is if you drove, this is the honor system, if you're driving home, stand up. Okay? If your drive, if your drive is at least 100 miles, remain standing. Kilometers. Sorry. I should have known. If you've got, okay, 100 kilometers. Now, you guys, you can't drive extra miles just to get the audio, all right? If your drive home is 150 kilometers, remain standing. 200 kilometers. 250, 275, 300 kilometers, 350, 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers home, remain standing. 500 kilometers, remain standing. 500 kilometers. How far do you guys have to drive? So, okay. All right. Are there any guests? In this group? Okay, if there's okay, are any of you guests?
No, like 1 month.
No, that doesn't count. Sorry. Okay, please sit down. If you're a guest and you're driving at least 200 kilometers home, stand up. There we go. They're the winners.
And that's pretty incredible how far you guys have driven. So we've got people from out of province and out of country visiting this event today. So congratulations and great job. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Our Steve Schulz, President of Field Operations, has also graciously donated 2 convention tickets for next year's Disney convention. So two conventions. But we had a little bit of a stipulation because we wanted to make you work for this one. So the 2 distributors who had the most guests in attendance win the convention ticket. Oh, she wrote them down over there. Is it the same 2 names that you told me at lunch? Oh, there's a recalculation. I was disqualified from this one. All right, so we'll wait for Adriana to go get that. You shout them out? The anticipation. So, no, come on, keep coming. So next year's convention is going to be in Disney. Is it Disney World or Disneyland? Oh, Disney. I get that confused. So California, Disneyland. I've already got my tickets. I'm already going. My kids are going. My husband's going. My team members are going. So we're all excited about this. So who are the winners? Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen. Good girl. Awesome. And Ash. Who's Ash? You won a 2015 convention ticket to Disneyland, California.
Go to Disneyland.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
I saw Jordan do something on the stage one day when he won the biggest ticket. I don't know what it was, Jordan. I think it was at the convention. You won the biggest prize. The car, and you gave it away, didn't you? I learned a lesson that day. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to earn this ticket myself, and so I want someone else to go to the convention. Yeah, I'm going to earn this ticket.
Now, all of these, keep in mind, these are all guests or customers, so that's okay because they're going to be distributors anyway. So draw them. That's why not? Let's draw them. All right, so we've got number 731014. 731014. Are you guys in the room? No? Yeah? I think that's a sign.
This man I know, you're going to go to convention. Check. Wow, you're the corporate guy.
right, so I also wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that an event like this really takes a lot of people to come together and to really make it a successful event. So truly, without all of you, we couldn't have made this happen. So for me, you just plant the seed and everything falls into place. So first, I wanted to thank Megan Heffernan for always being by my side. What can I do next? What can I do next? How can I take this opportunity? So Megan, I really appreciate everything that you do. And to SendOutCards, and I'm so fortunate to have you on my team. And you know, I met Megan. She wasn't. We weren't friends. Not that we were enemies, but we weren't actually friends. I didn't know her. It was a lady that I had sponsored, and she sponsored Megan, and that's how we met. And truly, these are how friendships are formed, and I'm really, really grateful for that. So thank you, Megan. Also to all of our to our greeters, if you guys can stand up, we've got so many helpers here. So all the greeters, Dan Casante, stand up. We've got Dave Mansour. We've got all the registration. We've got Julie Scalding, Julie stand up, Adriana. We've got Kristen. We've got Nicole, walk it out. All the greeters. Yeah, Jamie, Bonnie, thank you so much for getting Google Hangout. Also to Phoebe Trotman. I know Phoebe's not here, but I know she's watching me right now. And I know I'm going to call her up. Okay, don't tell me you did a good job. Critique me. What can I do better next time? Because she's going to say, yeah, you did a great job. No, I want to know what I can do to improve. So Phoebe, I wanted to say thank you so much for always being such an a continuous support and my go-to person when I'm not quite sure what to do, and being a fabulous mentor. Always appreciate that from you. And I know that you're cheering all the way from BC, and I appreciate that. So who else am I missing? Book sales, we've got Dana, we've got Dana Peaver. We've also got David. David, thank you so much for doing book sales. Is the slide up there? Oh, perfect. Oh, yes. I think he's left already. But Penvico, we had, I don't know if you noticed, but we had a gentleman who was set up at the back of the room, and I actually met him at a networking event last week, and met together, set a coffee date, met him, I shouldn't say date, my husband's here. A coffee meeting, and we met a couple days ago, and he told me what he did, and he does corporate films and videos. So I said, I'm having a venue, and he offered to do that for us. So I thought the least that I could do is have him up here. So stay tuned for an incredible edited professional video to come, hopefully within the next couple of days. Also, do you have the clicker? Awesome. I wanted to also give a big round of applause to Gideon Bentata. Is that how you say your name, Gideon? Gideon, awesome job. You did a lot of help with our promotional work. We printed up some invitations, guest invitations, and Gideon graciously offered to help out with that. So thank you so much. You're such a talented. Also, a thank you to all the VIP distributors who did pre-register. You know, things like this take a lot to put together, and it's nice to know the numbers and people who are committed right from the get-go. So thank you to all those distributors who did that as well. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Obviously to Stephen and Jordan, thanks guys for coming all the way out here from the States. Really, we feel flattered and humbled and grateful that you come out to visit us. So Steve and Jordan, would you mind just coming back to the stage for a minute? We've got a little something to just say thank you for your visit to Canada. Just a little package. Well, you got a little. I gave them a little welcome package with things that they can't get in the States. So when they went up to their hotel room, they got some ketchup chips and some. They got ketchup chips and some Aero mint Aero chocolate that you guys don't have in the States, and a couple other things. So that's not your prize. You gotta have something else. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for everything that you do for SendOutCards. You can open it if you want.
I don't think it's in there.
I wasn't sure what size. I want you guys to wear that on the flight home. I'm going to take you to the airport with those shirts on. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. So, you know, with all the information and the excitement that's happening today, let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. We have events going on all the time, all across the country, I'll focus on Ontario because that's where we are. And so we do business presentations. We were doing them, I mean, I do them every day, but the bigger, larger events. We have, over the summer, we're doing SendOutCards business presentations. We changed the Saturday just because of a lot of Ontario. We go to cottages out here, so we're going to do them on Tuesdays, so one Tuesday a month. Tuesday, July 15th, from 7 till 8. We're going to keep it very short, very professional, in and out, so be on time. For those of you who have been attending them, it's going to be at Taste of Columbia Cafe in Oakville. So I have the Eventbrite site already up and running, so you can register for that right away. If you can't make it and you know somebody in Oakville, send them to us. We'll post them for you. You don't make the excuse that you can't make it. If you've got somebody, send them to us. We'll take care of them. Tuesday, August 12th, day after my husband's birthday. I made sure that, don't worry, we'll be going out the night before. So Tuesday, August 12th, again, Taste of Columbia Cafe. If you guys can join us, if you can't, send somebody our way. We also have Cards and Coffee. Megan and I host that every single Monday morning. However, we do alternate between cafes. So stay tuned. You can go to Sock Stars Canada. So if you guys are not on Facebook, get on Facebook because that's where you're going to see a lot of the information, particularly about Canada. So Sock Stars Canada, log on to that. We're continuously posting events that are happening. So again, Cards and Coffee, you can plug in your guests. If you're a new distributor, if you're a seasoned distributor, send them our way. We typically do run through of cards, a little bit of training. If there's new people there, then we'll do the whole full-on presentation and connect with either of us on Facebook, and we'll make sure that we take care of them for you. Bonnie, I should mention the Treat 'em Right in Detroit. That's coming up, and really Detroit's only a few hours away, so I'm planning on going to that. Bonnie, I think you are. I know Susan is. That's July 19th. Okay, so July 19th, that's the next Treat 'em Right, so plug into that. I also wanted to bring attention to, for those of you, and only Canada has been receiving these newsletters from, I believe, Paul Gerardus. Oh, I should give him a great shout out as well. He's been really, really instrumental in helping to get the word about this venue out. He's been sending out newsletters specifically to Canadians. And one of the last newsletters that we sent out, there was a little bit of a typo. And they said that we're having our next road tour here, but I think they said September 27th or something like that. That's actually Vancouver that they're supposed to be doing that. So that was a little bit of a typo. I'm sure they'll be fixing that up there. However, we are going to try and get these guys back. They're not listening right now. So we have a lot going on. And, you know, and I know, again, I know Bonnie does events, Catherine does events. Tons of people are doing events all over. You can always go to the SendOutCards main page and go to upcoming events, I believe it's on. You can scroll down and you can find meetings that are going on virtually around the world. So take initiative. If you know people around the world, see what other people are doing around the world. Connect on Facebook, and people, you're just that kind of culture, people will post them for you. So utilize that. Leverage the people in the business to help grow your business. That's what we're here for. And I think that's pretty much it. I know, Megan, you wanted to say a few words.
Oh. And of course I have to try not to cry. Melissa has been so wonderful and honest to Pete. If it wasn't for Pete. Dang, honest Pete. If it weren't for Melissa, we all wouldn't likely be in this room right now. I mean, she really takes the bull by the horns, as they say, I suppose. And where's my It's been a little bit. So many thanks to Melissa. I'm so sorry. You're such a dear friend, and we had a blast at convention. Many years of good times, good events, and cheers on you. Thanks, girl.
more anal in particular about things. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Oh, Dan. Hey, Dan. All right, guys, so a couple things. So we're wrapping up. I know Jordan and Steve will be more than happy to sign some books if you purchase. Dana, do we have any more books left? Do we have any more for sale? We do. Okay, so we still have a couple more books for sale. I believe they'll be, Dana and David will be out there selling off the last few books. So if you guys want to get your copy, go grab them now, and Steve and Jordan will be more than happy to autograph them for you. So we'll be kind of hanging, as we're leaving and cleaning up, you're more than welcome to head over to the Stonehouse restaurant. I made reservations in the cocktail lounge area for anybody that wants to come over, have a drink, mix and mingle. Jordan, Steve, Megan and I and our team will be over there as well, so you're more than welcome to pop on over for that. So thank you very much, everybody, and let's go get it done. I don't know that yet. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Over the I was just going to take a picture of us from London over here. That's okay. Kathy, you're welcome to be from London if you like this for fun. Right, I'll see you. What's that? See you next time. What's that? See you next time. Yeah, come out next time. What's the time? Oh, it is? I bought my own. Well, good for you. That's great. Yeah, we fly them and then we send it out. Yeah, good idea. So come over here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, you too. Nice to see you, Kathy. So, 2 weeks. I'm London right now. It's up in the thing. Yeah, they'll be able to talk to you. And we did they're going forward too. Oh, good. Yeah, good. What? Okay, see you later.